Well, good morning. That's from the Uptown with the George Benson Quartet album. Came out in the early 60s. And that song was called Clockwise. And this was back, well, George Benson, he goes way, way back. He goes all the way back to Little Georgie when he was playing on a ukulele. And on the street corners and stuff, and earning a few bucks here and there, and then he ended up in some sort of a pool hall nightclub thing, and he played in that and was making some pretty decent cash until the whole place got busted up and shut down by the cops. But that was his early careers. That was at 8 and 9 years old. Okay, and then he started his professional career still in his teens. So anyway, and of course everybody knows where George Benson ended up going to. Full name's George Washington Benson. So he's quite a historic character. He's still going. He's still he actually was a high school dropout, but he's actually earned honorary degrees from Berkeley. He's considered the jazz master. So let's break this song down. His whole idea on this particular tune was to bring blues into the jazz scene. And so I love just this part is amazing. This is nothing but staccatoed quarter notes. Right? G, 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 G octave, G, D, 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 right? But he makes that thing swing so much, da, 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 right? Ba, 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 right? That's beautiful. I mean, just the feel. He sets that feel right up. And then he goes right into the blues scale, and he does a D flat to D, and then C, B flat, G. Do, 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 do. That's the toughest, one of the toughest riffs. And this diminished run that I did on here, I can only get to do it on the jazz guitar. You do things like that. You put it together, you have these chromatic shifts between them. But it's so much easier to do them on flat wound strings than it is on these round wounds. You get a big scrapey sound, which you probably just noticed. So yeah, that's that first little riff, right? Then a beautiful G7 sharp 5 sharp 9 chord, right? Nicely syncopated as well, too, right? He knows right where to nail that chord. It's really kind of like a horn kick, you know? So I'll throw that in. We'll go that far. Empty space. He knew that space is just as nicely as all the notes. And so that's an interesting, and yet it's a space that's there, but you really still feel what was going on. So when he jumps back in, he's right on time. So that goes like this. Goes into a D7 sharp 9 chord right there. Right? Okay? So that's basically his intro, right? And then he takes us through this really wild little riff. It's you pick up on G. This is your downbeat, C. Okay? And then that was C. I'm actually encasing the B. And I'm doing a half step above it, half step below it, into it. Right? And then he actually sneaks in the E before he gets to this. Right? So that was C, B, C, C sharp, D. I throw in a G13 chord there. And I do this when I have an F on my That's my 8th fret on the 5th string, and I got 2 notes, B, my 3, and E, my 13, on the 9th frets on the 4th and 3rd strings. And then I have my 8th fret again on my 2nd string, and that gives me my root. It's no different than this. Right? So that's G13 if I wanted to do it down there. But I'm heading out for these. And that's G diminished, E diminished, D flat diminished, B flat diminished. And I believe I make it all the way down to the octave. So I started at G, I ended at G. And then we can do some sort of an outro. Right? And then you kick that and off you go again, right? So let's see, which ones do we want to tighten up on? I think we've covered pretty much all of it. So, right, you got that, and then you got, and keep in mind that these are all just the basics of the tune. Then what you throw into it from there, you know, embellishments on that idea, okay? And remember, he really thought this was just a jump blues type of thing. And so we can just take right off and go right into a good blues. Just keep the tempo happening. And so then this just becomes the head and something that you can always go back into, just to keep the whole tune intact. So that's it, Clockwise by George Benson. Oh, and the diminished chords, right? So I'm doing, I got an E, I got a C sharp, and then I got a B flat and a G. So that's a normal placement for that particular, on the first 4 strings. This is your diminished look, right? If I want to do it on, say, the inside strings, I could do like E, B flat, D flat, G. So I could do that. Or if I needed to do one down here, you can do that. So those are diminished, typical diminished chord forms. Right? And I use them a lot of times here. So if I'm going in between things, right? So if I have a G major 7 and I'm going to head to A minor, right? So you can do those. Those are typical connections. Or if I was on a C and then I do sharp, so that's my 4 chord, right? So yeah, diminished chord connections are really nice, and it probably the big pioneer of the diminished chord licks in jazz was probably Charlie Christian. He did a lot of that sort of thing with the Benny Goodman Orchestra. And he was first electric amplified guitarist, so he was first lead player. And George, of course, his influences a lot were Wes Montgomery. In fact, he's really kind of almost like took the torch over. So when Wes pretty much retired out, George was just coming in on the scene. So it was really perfect timing to keep that jazz guitar idea intact. And where George took it to is just absolutely amazing. An amazing journey. I followed him a lot. I did go see him many nights at the Jazz Workshop, and there was a beautiful little intimate club. So I could sit like within just 3 or 4 feet from the stage and just stare. And I was in awe always. And even in those times, he really wasn't doing a lot of singing. And then all of a sudden he started doing some singing, and everybody was like, whoa. You know, where did that voice come from? He was a phenomenal singer. And then the scatting, So he always was scatting whatever he was playing. Right? So all that sort of business. So anyways, I hope that helps you be able to play Clockwise by George Benson. Enjoy, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and ring the bell and you'll get my notifications. How else should I say? Well, like I said, thank you ever so much, and I hope this helps you on your guitar path.